everyone, welcome to this talk today. My name is Karen Lum. I'm the founder of SolarHour. I'm a San Francisco-based video producer and filmmaker, and I coach a lot of real estate agents on how to make videos. Today, I'm joined by a realtor who I've been admiring from afar. I love his videos. I see him across YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and I just think that Austin is a category of one. No one's doing what he's doing. Austin, why don't you please introduce yourself?
Thanks so much for having me. Happy to be on and talk about this stuff. I love making videos, so I'm excited to talk about it. I am a lawyer turned real estate agent in San Francisco. I was born and raised in Orange County, but moved up to San Francisco after law school, and I've been living here since 2013. And I left my legal practice in early 2022, kind of right as the market started to shift dramatically, especially in the city during the pandemic. And I've been a realtor for about a little over 3 years now. And most of my lead generation and kind of what I do on a day to day is focused on making video content.
Awesome. I have to show Austin just how amazing he is because the numbers really speak for themselves. So on YouTube, Austin has 20,000 subscribers. On Instagram, you have 41,000 subscribers. On TikTok, you have 16.2 thousand subscribers. This is how incredible Austin's engagement is by the numbers. He's got 77,000 followers across all his platforms. He's getting on average 37,000 views per video. And then on average, about 50% of those people are watching him. Austin's the real deal. I almost think of you as like the digital mayor of San Francisco
Love
because
it.
you're super engaging. You even have videos on like where to buy a Labubu. Like this man knows what the people want. Let's dig into it. I want to start asking some questions about how you got started. I think your videos are very creative. When you were growing up, were you a creative kid?
0%. I hated art class. That was like by far least favorite thing growing up in like elementary school. Was not creative one bit. I'm a horrible drawer, painter, not like any sort of like creative writing type person, none of that. Um, I studied film in college. I've always loved kind of the technical side of film. I didn't study like film production. I studied like film history, like old movies. Just there's something about them. They don't make them that way anymore that I just always was attracted to. And maybe that's had some influence on me. I've definitely figured out where I can be creative in this video space. And obviously that takes time to develop, but I've found some creativity in that sense.
What was your business like before you started doing social media and like what made you start taking it seriously? What made you get into it?
I left my law practice early 2022. My first deal was not until July of 2023. So I went about, I don't know, 16, 17 months or so with making no money whatsoever. And the first kind of few months of being an agent, I was just like reading all the books, listening to all the podcasts, watching all the videos that I could about the million different ways that people can go about getting business in real estate. There's so many things that new agents can do to generate business, but a lot of them they're a little old school and things that I just did not personally want to do. And they work, but a lot of people don't want to do them. You know, making cold calls, knocking on doors, some people do, but most people don't. Like
Yeah.
those types of things, they're they more immediately get you in front of people, but they're not exactly the most comfortable thing. You're going to get yelled at and have doors shut in your face 99,000 times out of whatever. Figuring out over the first several months what I wanted to do, I also thought, like, where's my business going to come from? I had a very robust network of very well off lawyers and other professionals that I got to know over the 8 years that I was practicing law. But everybody who knew me knew that I had just got my license. So, yes, they know I'm a smart, capable person, sure, but they know that I've never done this before. And in San Francisco, where the average home is north of $2 million, they're not necessarily going to trust that person, even if they think they're smart. So I was like, it's probably not going to come from people who know me. So I was like, okay, it's going to be people who don't. So, how do I make people who have no idea who I am think that I know everything there is to know about this business? And
Mhm.
social was one of the things that I started exploring as a potential way to grow. And I just saw what the long term potential was, the long term scale potential of that model. There are some barriers to entry from a cost standpoint, but compared to other things, it's substantially lower. And there are time costs. Like you buy a camera once, or maybe every 5 years, whatever it is, but
Mhm.
buying equipment once, And putting stuff on the internet is free, literally unlimited potential. It takes a long time, and that's part of why I didn't get business for over a year, because it takes a while to build trust to get people to start reaching out to you. But I thought that the long-term play of that, especially we're starting to see it now where San Francisco is starting to come out of the slump that the national media had portrayed it to be in, and it was partly in it, but partly not. So I thought that by the time this started happening, if I was doing things the right way and everything was clicking, I would start to get a bunch of business from this. And that has
Mm.
to be the case, which is great.
Your strategy is so smart because you're right. If you pay attention to the way national news looks at San Francisco, it's always like it's crime ridden, there's a slum, it's a mass exodus. And now you're riding that wave back. Let's talk about your target customer. Who do you try to appeal to through your videos?
Yeah, so it depends on the platform a little bit, and I've tried to expand that as time has gone on. On YouTube, when I first started, a lot of my videos were just about what it's like living in San Francisco, going neighborhood to neighborhood, highlighting local restaurants, like things to do, just the overall neighborhood characteristics, what the homes are like in this neighborhood versus this. So things that people who don't live here and who are not familiar with San Francisco would find like an encyclopedia of every single neighborhood in San Francisco. So for YouTube, the way it started was like that relocation content. And that was part of maybe there's not a lot of people relocating here today, but I think 2, 3 years from now, that's going to change for all the reasons that we're seeing today.
Hmm.
Um, Instagram and TikTok are a little different. If you like look at metrics, some of the videos do reach people in other localities, both nationally and internationally, like New York or DC or whatever it is. But by and large, like the vast majority of people who watch my videos are local.
Hmm.
And like the strategy there was to attract people. Of course, if people are relocating and find me this way, great, because if they're searching for that, Instagram is going to start pumping that content to them or TikTok. But my target there was just people who already live here and just want to learn things about the city. And like the thing that I saw a lot of other realtors do, like 99% of the people who are posting on Instagram, it's just listed, it just sold, open house, kind of it,
Yeah.
which is fine. I think all that stuff is necessary. But if you're actually trying to build an audience, you have to figure out a way to get people in before you can show them that stuff. And like 99, like you can look through your Rolodex of people that you know. How many of your friends or family are trying to buy a house right now? Probably a very small percentage of them. If most of the people who are seeing a just sold, just listed open house, they don't care. So, but there are things that you could show that people do care about. Everybody wants to know what new restaurants are opening, what their new bars are, new events coming to the city, what's happening in the city generally. Why are the national headlines the way they are? Is that right or wrong? Or and how there are lots of things that are valuable, entertaining, things that people want to know about that are completely untethered to buy a house today, sell a house today.
Yeah.
Instagram and TikTok are, we hear about the sales funnel concept. They are top of funnel platforms, and realtors, they just make bottom of funnel content and it doesn't bring people in. So, like, my idea was let's just talk about the city. If I'm selling a house, part of it is, yeah, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, whatever, but part of it is how close is it to the grocery store? What's there to do around there? How walkable it is to restaurants or shops? Whatever these other like lifestyle characteristics that
Mhm.
talk about, those are all just as important as how many beds, how many baths, whatever. So if
Yeah.
I can get people engaged on the lifestyle front, but also just pepper in once in a while, maybe it's once a week, maybe it's 3 times a month, whatever it is, just to make sure that they know that I am in this business and that I do business while at the same time just having them constantly in my engaged in all the other things that I'm talking about. Eventually, at least my thought is that when they are ready to buy, I will be at least somebody that crosses their mind.
Right.
You also want to If you have a listing or you just sold something, you want to make sure that a lot of people know that. So you want a big audience. So part of posting about that other stuff is to just get that audience. Like the
Yeah.
sometimes I post house tours regularly, and I think that stuff is important too. And that does attract some followers because people love looking at houses. But by and large, the vast majority of my following comes from videos that have nothing to do with buying or selling real estate.
Interesting. So do you think a lot of your buyers are first-time home buyers?
A good amount are not. Them are I work in SF and in Marin, so a lot of people
Hmm.
like they have a condo in SF, they're having kids, they're starting to think about schools, they want to move to Marin.
Yeah.
So they're selling here, buying there, and they want to work with the same person.
Yeah.
Sometimes people, same issue, they just want a bigger house or they're downsizing. So
Yeah.
some of them, it's pretty evenly split first time versus not. I've had lots of people who have bought and sold things with other people do their next transaction with me. There's a lot of turnover in that sense in the real estate business. I just I want to be in front of as many people as possible at all times for the least amount of money possible. And there's no better way to do that than through social media. It's every video I
Yeah.
post at this point costs $0. We can talk about what YouTube's a different story because I work with people on that, a little bit more involved, but I shoot every video for Instagram or TikTok myself with equipment that I bought a year or 2 years ago at this point. It's $0 and it's unlimited scale.
Yeah. It's just your time though.
It's time. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a huge piece.
Yeah.
These other things, they can generate more immediate business. If I go knock on 100 doors, maybe I'll get somebody interested.
Yeah.
That takes time too, obviously. Or if I send 500 postcards out or whatever it is,
Mm-hmm.
that stuff costs money and that also takes time. Like you have to
You're right.
touch people multiple times usually for them to develop some sort of rapport and trust you to engage with you to do business. I can just do that a lot faster now than you can with mailing. Yeah, time is the big hurdle.
Yeah.
I was fortunate to have had a very high paying job before I got into this business. So I had money saved up that I could weather the whatever it was, 17 months of making $0 in San Francisco, that takes a toll on your savings. Uh,
Yeah.
but I could do that. But if somebody was like, if you're fresh out of college and you want to be a real estate agent, do I think this is the best thing for you to do? I definitely do, but you have to be able to afford to like weather that storm. I don't
Yeah.
know, dual income or whatever it is, you have to figure out a way to weather it because it's going to take a really long time, even if you have videos that go viral immediately, which you probably won't, to get to the point where you have a relationship enough with your audience where they will start calling you.
All of your strategy is so well thought out, from like how you can afford it, like weathering that like that long tail where it's like you don't see
Yeah.
growth for such a long time and then it spikes. I want to dive into also like just what it takes to actually do this, because like, I do think you're being a bit humble that you're like, oh, it's $0. It's $0 for marketing, but it's
Yes.
the time it took for you to not only make
Yes.
each video but for you to get good at it, that building of your craft. So I want to dive deep into the craft because I myself am a filmmaker. I love talking about all things video production. Okay, let's start with the very, very first part, the storytelling process, the research, the scripting. So tell me about that. How do you figure out what you're going to talk about in the video?
One of the things that I do every single day is just read the news. I have subscriptions to San Francisco Chronicles, SF Business Times, The Real Deal, SF Standard. In San Francisco, we are bombarded with all those news publications. We have great Instagram accounts like Secret San Francisco and
Mm,
Infatuation SF, Eater SF. We have so many different ways to get information about the city, but not everybody has subscriptions to all of these things. But that is part of it. They're very low cost, but they do cost money. So I, read the news every day. If I see something that I think if it's interesting to me, it's going to be interesting to probably some segment of the population. And that's why these news publications are writing about it. I just put it into a list. And so I have a running list of ideas that I'm going to make content about.
mm,
I don't have specific blocks where today's film day, I'm going to hammer all these out, but I try my best to film in blocks so that I have flexibility to actually do my actual business. Like when people call me and I need to go on tours and writing offers and inspections and all the things you actually have to do as an agent, I need flexibility to schedule that in my day. So I will film in an ideal world between 7 to 20 videos in one sitting.
Oh,
So
wow.
I have on my phone right now 20 reels and TikTok videos. They're drafted, they're edited, they're just sitting in my drafts. I just have to post.
Oh my
So
gosh.
like if I wanted to not do anything for the weekend, I wouldn't have to, and I could still post every single day and not miss a beat. I think the hardest part about filming is the consistency, like doing social media, being consistent. Like that is so hard to do. And that's where most people, I think, get tripped up. That's how I stay consistent. I have just that stuff banked. And for
Wow.
YouTube, it's harder because the videos take so much longer because
I can
they're
tell.
very long.
Yeah.
In an ideal world, I have three that I've done, and I'm set for I do one long form video a week is posted. So I will have that banked for 3 weeks. But what I have found is that's very hard to do, especially as I'm getting busier. So it's been more like if I have a free 2 hours, I'm just going to go film this part. If I have a free hour here, I'm going to go film this part. It's a little haphazard in that sense from just getting the content itself.
You do a lot of content about San Francisco's comeback post like the COVID-19 mass exodus out of San Francisco, which I think directly addresses a lot of the myths about SF. You do a lot of content on moving to SF for relocation. So it's here's what neighborhood you should check out, or here are the hidden neighborhoods you might not have heard of before. It helps, I think, build a lot of excitement about San Francisco and all the things to do. When I watch your videos, I'm like, oh, it's like watching the news. Wow, they're actually doing a lot with San Francisco. How do you come up with ideas?
Yeah, there are a few ways. What are other real estate agents doing on YouTube in other cities? If it's worked for them, it might work for me. So it's a lot of just, there's like a playbook in some sense where there's a group of realtors across the country who do this style of content geared toward like the relocation buyer, for example. Pros and cons, best 5 neighborhoods, worst 5 neighborhoods, most expensive, least expensive, doing all the neighborhood tours. San Francisco is really easy because we've got almost 90 different neighborhoods. So I've got 90 different videos right there. And then there are different ways to package them like these ones are where the billionaires live, or these ones are where the new tech money lives, or whatever it is. There's so many different ways to repackage that stuff. And then part of the idea generation process is like the people that I retain to like edit and do the back end stuff for my YouTube channel. They work with a lot of like people in other jurisdictions. So like they see and they're like specifically dedicated to like YouTube for real estate agents. So see what works because they've seen it with their own clients. So sometimes they'll do a video that works really well for those people, and we'll try and incorporate that here in SF.
Do you need to be on social media a lot too to know what kind of messaging works or what the trends are?
At least for the real estate business, I don't think the trends really matter. I think that you need to look at other people's content
Mm.
to get better. Like you have to just get the reps in. I follow realtors all over the country. I follow people, content creators who just they are just very good at maybe it's tech reviews, maybe it's home design, whatever. There's things to learn by watching other people's content as well. And you get ideas too. Like I rip ideas from other people all the time. If I see a video that did really well about date night restaurants in Nashville, okay, I'll
Hmm.
want about San Francisco. Why not?
Yeah.
So I think you got to consume content that's part of getting good at it.
Yeah. It's the dark side of having to, if you want to be on social media, you kind of have to actually be on social media. You have to like watch stuff. And I think a lot of people, for good reasons, are not on social media. They're like, I don't have social media. I don't spend hours a day. That's good. That's good that you're not chronically online. But the more I engage with social media, the more stuff I watch, the more I comment on other people. It's like it leaves a good rapport on your account.
Totally.
And so that
You,
is the
you
dark side of it.
yeah, you have to also be present for your
Yeah.
own people to engage. People to tell me they hate this restaurant or they like it or that house sucks or they completely loved it. or whatever. I don't care what people say. I want them to say something, and I'm gonna respond.
Yeah.
If it's something I feel like it's worth responding to. Like
Yeah.
you have to be on it, even for your own content. Comments, I think, unfortunately, if you want to do social, you got to be on social.
I want to talk about your shooting setup. So, like camera, gimbal, drone, audio, lighting, teleprompter if you use something like that. So, while you're on the ground for both your longer YouTube videos, which are very different from your TikTok, Instagram videos, for both of those like buckets, what's your shooting setup?
Yeah, so for YouTube, I'm not the type that can do, I don't use a teleprompter.
Wow. I'm so shocked because you're so good at it. You
Oh,
talk like you're not scripted.
I'm super scripted. I cannot be untethered from my phone. It's if somebody were to ask me about the neighborhood that I lived in, I could rattle off for 30 minutes about why it's so great. But if you put a camera in front of me, I don't know what to say. So
Yeah.
I need a script. I need every
Mm.
single word written down exactly as I'm going to say it.
Wow.
Have it on my phone. I use Notion for that. And I
Uh-huh.
just have, here's the video, here's my script. And it is literally word for word. And
Wow.
so I don't have a teleprompter, but I'll have my phone. I will memorize a few sentences at a time, say it to the camera, look down at my phone again, say it to the camera, and I keep
Oh.
going back and forth. And a lot of the cuts, I put in a lot of B-roll. One, it makes it engaging, but two, it masks a lot of those cuts so that the video just feels more natural and you don't see me jogging from cuts every few sentences.
The camera is so funny psychologically. It's basically like you're looking at this inanimate object and you're expected to like be yourself. And so it's actually very normal for people to be like, for all of their personality and their charisma to evaporate.
That just takes time. My personality does not always come off in videos. I try to actively put more of it in because that's what it's more engaging, but it is very hard to do. And when you first start, like your videos are going to be, they're going to be awful. There's no way around it. You're going to be very rigid because you've never done this before. And you just have to keep doing it to get over it. And eventually you stop caring and it kind of spirals and you just get more natural at it.
So has your confidence on camera changed over time?
Yeah, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like when my first reels, I remember doing them. They took 2 hours to make a 45-second or 1 minute video. And now
Yeah.
I can do five an hour, maybe, just banging them out. Maybe more if I know the topic and I don't need to like research, like going back to reading the news, doing a bunch of research, then scripting it. If I just know what I'm talking about, I can write a script in a couple minutes and film it and have it ready to go very quickly.
That's crazy.
But
Wow.
that's now after literally 1,000 videos that I've probably made in the last 2.5 years that I've been doing this. It takes time.
What camera do you use?
I film everything on DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I
Oh
think
my gosh, that looks so good.
literally the single best investment
Uh-huh.
anybody who's making content can possibly make. It is such a good piece of equipment. It's so
Yeah.
versatile. The footage is so crisp, clear. Like
Yeah.
you do not need a $5,000 camera or whatever to do that. It is amazing and
Yeah.
plenty sufficient. A lot of people might use their iPhone, which you could totally do using the back cameras, totally high quality cameras. I need to see myself while I'm
Oh.
filming to make sure that I'm centered, or I just want to know that I'm in focus, whatever, so you can see yourself on the Osmo screen while you are filming yourself. Um,
Oh yeah, because it faces you. Got it.
so it's very helpful. And that's it. It's just the Osmo, my phone for the script, and a tripod. I film all my YouTube videos these days in the Presidio because it's quiet and the backdrop is nice. And it's just a little bit more pleasant than, or at least I think for people watching, than this is where I would be filming if I wasn't outside. This is whatever. There's nothing special about this.
Yeah.
So it's nicer to just be out and about. A dog will run behind me or
Mm.
makes it a little bit more engaging. Um,
Your mic pairs with the camera.
Oh, I have a
A DJI mic.
DJI mic that came with the Pocket 3.
Super
Uh,
smart setup.
yeah,
No one's filming you. You're by yourself.
I'm by myself. I
No
have hired,
way.
it's just me. I've hired a videographer for a few videos. Like if I'm doing a house tour for a listing, that needs to be a little bit more professional. So I will hire an actual videographer and do more of a produced thing. But 9 times out of 10, it's just me and a tripod. And
Wow.
Videographers are expensive. That 25-minute house tour that I did cost, I think it was like $1,300 or something like that, which
Yeah.
it's not crazy, but that's not nothing. And if you're doing a video a week, even if
Yeah.
it's $500 for a video, that's going to get expensive.
Yeah.
Um, and we could talk about I have an editor for YouTube. I was doing it myself for the first year. I had the time to do it because I wasn't doing any business, but videos weren't like great. So I eventually hired somebody to do my editing for me. They do my thumbnail, they do like the tagging, like they do the back end stuff for YouTube, but
Mhm.
it's just me.
Awesome setup.
For Instagram and TikTok, if I'm doing a green screen video, I take 3 images, put it into Canva, stack the images on top of each other, download that file. That's my green screen. And then I film everything in CapCut, and
Hmm.
it's all with the front-facing iPhone camera.
Yeah.
Not Instagram doesn't post higher than 1080p. So even if you're filming in 4K, it doesn't really do anything for you
Yeah.
on Instagram. So it's just the front-facing camera. I can look at myself while I'm filming, and I have a little DJI gimbal that I put my
Mm.
to. I don't even use a mic for those. It's just my iPhone
Yeah.
sound. That's it. So it's
Yeah.
like a very like low budge setup for videos. For videos where I'm doing like a voiceover, the footage that I will have got is either from my iPhone, like if I'm on tour looking at houses and I just take video of that house, that'll be with my phone. Or if I'm going specifically to a park to make a video about a new park that just opened or whatever, I will use my Osmo for that. And there's definitely a quality difference. I think the Osmo is a better camera, but it doesn't have as wide of an angle as the iPhone does. So not
Yeah.
for interiors of
Yeah.
like really big spaces.
Yeah.
So that's it. And then I edit all YouTube videos. If it's a green screen, that's all CapCut. If it's a voiceover, I edit in a program called Filmora,
Oh yeah.
which it's not super expensive, but it's more robust than iMovie and substantially less robust than a Final Cut or Premiere type.
Mhm.
But you can rearrange the framing a bit and just makes it a little easier to work with. Then I have a drone. I
Mm.
bought a DJI Air 3 little over a year ago. That totally changed the game for my videos. It just made it a lot easier to get footage of neighborhoods, like, either in my car or by foot, and just like film everything. I can get broad swaths of neighborhoods with my drone in 5 minutes. So it saves a lot of time. It also just adds some dynamism to videos. It's more engaging when you mix up the style of shot. It's efficient and the videos are amazing. And people think that some professional is doing it. There's a learning curve with flying a drone. It takes a little bit of learning, but
Mhm.
it's very easy now.
Segue into sales now and how this helps you grow your business. So, roughly, what percentage of your business comes from social media?
It's about 2/3. So if somebody knows me and works with me, or is like someone I know is referring one of their friends, any inbound that I get is through social media. So it's about 2/3, 1/3 from my videos, basically.
How has your deal flow changed over time since you started going all in on social media videos?
Oh, it's definitely taking off. So my first deal was July of 2023. So in 2023, for those 6 months, I think it was 9 million. And then year two, I did 31 million. So 2024 was 31 million. This year to date is almost 29 million. So
Wow.
it's definitely ramping up and ramping up pretty quickly.
How does a person come from being a viewer of your video to becoming a client of yours? Like, what takes place in between those 2 points?
Usually I'll get a message, email, text, or a DM saying, "Hey, been following you on whatever for a while. My wife and I are thinking about, that it's time to dive in and buy a place. We live here. We're focused on maybe these neighborhoods. Do you have capacity to work with us?" And I'll respond as soon as I can and set up a Zoom. I always try and get them on Zoom. I hate talking on the phone. I want to see people. So we'll get on a Zoom. We'll go over just what their situation is, talk about everything that they want. I'll tell them if they're realistic or not and share some data to back it up and see if we need to expectations at all, and go over just the logistics that need to be put in place before we can actually start working together. But it's usually like a message to a Zoom, and then that's kind of it. And that's part of why I chose getting business this way, is because you're not doing the outreach. Like I'm making videos, but I'm not putting stuff out there to constantly push people to call me. They just call me
Mm.
when they're ready. And
Wow.
sometimes every person is different. Some people they're ready to go now, and some people are like, just want to introduce myself, probably not transacting until next year. So you need to have like your systems in place to follow up with them, whether it's with newsletter, market info here and there, whatever it is, you still need to stay in front of people and track that. But you need to do a lot less of that with this method, because by the time they're reaching out to you, they're usually very warm. It's the
Mm.
warmest possible lead that you can get from this, because they've literally spent hours over however long they've followed you watching your content. So it's not even like I've had to actually be one of the people they hire out of two or three people they're talking to. That's happened less than 5 times. Like it's usually, can you work with us? You know,
Wow.
learn whether you're a good fit.
Video is just such an amazing medium for building trust with a person because I feel like I've met you already before I ever met you. Like by watching your videos, I feel like we're already friends. We said we're not. And I'm like, oh wait, this guy's a stranger. Maybe I should actually treat it like I don't know him yet. And it's like the power of it. Through seeing a person's face, their voice, you see their personality, their values, their whole vibe. You can't get any of that through a headshot or your name written in an email. It's just a completely different medium. It really shows the full person. If you can get over that hurdle of like being yourself on camera. I want to know just exactly how long it takes you. So, how long does it take you to make a YouTube video as well as your shorter vertical videos for TikTok and Instagram?
Yeah, time is by far the biggest commitment and hurdle for most people. So for YouTube, let's say I'm like doing something from scratch. Like by now, I've been doing this for a while. I have a huge library of B-roll that I can use, so I don't have to reshoot. But let's say I don't, it's a neighborhood I've never filmed before, and it's a neighborhood I honestly don't know that much about. So like between doing all the research and the scripting, that piece of it might take 2 to 3 hours to bang out an actual script. For the video is probably for a neighborhood is going to be between 10 to 15 minutes max to actually shoot that. Um, about 45 minutes to an hour just, and that's like today. Like when I started, way longer because you're just not as good at it. But 45 minutes to an hour of me just straight talking into the camera, and then actually having to go get the B-roll, that takes the longest. That can be, depending on how many different things I need to get footage of, that could be several hours. I need shots of the neighborhood, shots of the houses. I need shots of where the main commercial corridor is and the restaurants. I need parks. There's a lot of different things that I'm highlighting in these videos, and that takes meaningful time because it's just me walking around the neighborhood or flying my drone, whatever it is. So all in, just the filming part for a YouTube video now, I would say between 3 to 5 hours per video. I post one video a week. So that's a pretty big chunk of time. I'll get a draft back from the editor. I need to watch it. I make comments. I get another draft back. I watch it again to make sure everything is right. So there's back end stuff that you do as well. But that's just YouTube though. The short form now, like I said before, I could probably bang out 5-ish videos an hour. That's just the straight filming,
Yeah.
getting the imagery for a green screen, writing the script, putting it into my phone, doing the caption, all that. Each video probably takes a total of 20 to 30 minutes.
Wow.
And when you're posting every day, 30 videos a month, whatever it is, it does take a lot of time. And that's having done this literally 1,000 times at this point. When I started, it was taking me 2 hours a video. So, like, you have to just be willing to you have to have the time to commit to it, which is great when you're first starting out because you have no actual business. All you have is time.
Do you have a different strategy, by the way, for the videos that go into like your MLS listing versus the ones you put online? Because I see a lot of realtors would just put that same video on both. Do you recommend that path or do you recommend something else?
A lot of the videos that are taken for like a listing are like they're very, pretty kind of cinematic, but the videographer just went and got footage and cut it up and put some music over it and called it a day. That is probably what would go with the actual like listing. But in terms of what I would post, I would never use that video because I'm not really doing anything. And that's what most people use because they're not shooting their own
Yeah.
videos. So for a listing, I will do a full video walkthrough where I'm giving a tour of the house.
Mm-hmm.
So I did one for a house. I think this is the one you were referencing earlier, where it was like a 25-minute tour video. And that shoot.
Yeah, I could
Um,
tell. It was a
yeah,
challenging video.
that was like 9 hours of filming, and that was brutal. But it turned out great. And the ultimate buyer for the property had just bought a house a year before, was not in the market, but they saw my YouTube video, called their agent, and said they need to see the house, and they ended up buying it. So
Oh my God.
that stuff, I remember the agent, or not the agent, the seller was like, "Are people actually going to watch this?" And I said, "Yes, they will." And that video didn't go crazy. I don't even think it got 10,000 views, but the amount of time that people watch it is substantial. Like they're watching several minutes. When they
Hmm.
watch 20% of that video, that's 5 minutes. That's a long time to be watching somebody.
Yeah.
Um, and it just happened. We got two offers on that place. Both of them actually found it through that YouTube video. So it's worth the investment.
Yeah.
Um, and then for Instagram, there are different things that you can highlight about your listing. Why it's a great rental property, that's a video. The three best amenities that it's next to, that's a video. You can break down, like that was a 5 unit building. So you could break down and do individual walkthroughs of each of the units. That's 5 videos. Your favorite design features in the house, that's a video. If need be, you like once a week, maybe twice a week, you pump out some sort of new twist on the house to keep it fresh. That's the problem with most like listings is like things are posted and then it's done and you just wait and see. But
Yeah.
like that's not how I think we should be approaching these things, especially with how much money we are getting paid to list these properties. So I try and showcase things that nobody else does, and that
Yeah.
I have an audience now that sees it, and I've got several stories just like that about other houses that I can show people when sellers reach out to me. It's I don't need to show them that I can do things differently because they have already seen it.
Yeah.
And there's one other agent in San Francisco who does YouTube like I do and does listings walkthroughs like I do, and she's been around for a very long time. She does tremendous amounts of business, including from her network, but also from her YouTube. But nobody else is doing it. There are only two of us who do it and do it in
Wow.
San Francisco. And I think nobody else does it like on like Instagram or TikTok. It's just a different style that
Yeah.
people aren't doing.
Okay. It's actually just so impressive that you got the video done before the house, like you had 6 days, right? The house was listed. So
So
you
we
finished it
we filmed
quickly.
everything before it came to market.
Oh, okay, okay.
So
Yeah.
everything that I'm talking about, it was a 5 unit building. It was furnished rentals, but it was all vacant. So we had free reign of the house. And so I was able to, after we got photos taken and they did their normal video stuff, I had a separate videographer there that was, we spent the whole day just doing that in the house. We came to market and I try and post the video the day that we come to market. There was a different house, and maybe this is the one that you were talking about, that was like a development project
Mm.
where like it was a total fixer, but the guy got permits in place to do a big expansion on the property. That one, the timing was a bit uh, wonky, and I actually didn't have a professional videographer for that house. But funny enough, the buyer for that house actually found me on Instagram
Oh.
because I posted a video about something that was being built across the street from that house. So she reached out and asked me, like, why did you post about this building? Because it was an old school that she went to And she was like, "Why did you post about this?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm listing a property across the street from it, and I'd never seen this building before, so I wanted to know what it was." And once I found out, I was like, "Oh, this is cool." And I found out they're doing a redevelopment of it. I'm going to post a video about it. So she saw that. She reached out to me, and I said, "I'm listing a house across the street." She's send me the house. So I sent her the house, and I sent her my YouTube video because I had a tour of it. She was like, "I love this. I need to come see it." So she saw it, and she was the ultimate buyer for the house.
Oh,
Like,
that's amazing.
it's all about that goes back to what I said earlier, which is, you are selling a house, but you're also selling a lifestyle. What is it walkable to? What are the restaurants? What are the bars? The like all of these things you should be talking about when you're listing a property. And people do talk about that stuff. They just don't put it on camera, but they should, because that will get somebody connecting in a different way to the property than is just gleanable through the photos that you take or on the MLS. You have to
Yeah.
figure out all the different possible ways to connect with people to maximize your reach when you're marketing.
This has been just a helpful conversation. So I wanted to wrap it up and ask you, like, if you had any advice to give any new realtor who's just getting started with videos, what would you tell them?
Most of the people that I talk to, I'll sit with them for an hour and I'll go through my process, and they'll be freaked out about it, understandably, because it's a lot of work, and they'll feel debilitated because it's hard. And
Yeah.
so, like, whenever people ask me about it, I was like, just put it out there. Like, the first video that you make, I don't care how many takes you do, it's gonna suck.
Hmm.
And just be prepared, and be prepared to get shat on the internet, because the internet, that's just life. I get as many positive comments as I get hateful comments. You just,
Really? Okay.
who cares at this point? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know where you are in life where you feel the need to do that on the internet. Like, whatever, you're not my customer and I don't care about you.
Yeah.
So it's just to start putting it out there. You will never get good at anything if you don't do it. You just
Yeah.
have to start. And then the better you get, the faster you get, the easier it gets. You start to have time to actually do the actual business, and it snowballs in the background. It takes months and months to get any traction. So you have to start and you have to just keep going. It took me 17 months to get any sort of business from it. By the time I got my first closed deal from YouTube, I was 9 months in to YouTube. And I think it was probably 7 months or so from when I actually committed to doing Instagram, where I got a closed deal from it. You have to put in the time and you cannot stop. You just have to
Mm.
and have faith that what I'm telling you is true and that you actually can generate business from it, which you can.
And if a realtor were to just choose one platform as a baby step, if they're feeling overwhelmed, they just want to choose one social media platform, which one do you think is the best for lead gen?
Instagram, hands down. I think
Mm.
it's more crowded for sure because everybody's on Instagram, but most people don't do it. And Instagram has a lot of different ways that you can interact with people, whereas TikTok really doesn't. Function on TikTok is not great. It's really just about videos. And most of the people that are seeing your content, if you go and look at the followers to non-followers who are watching your videos,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like 98% non-followers watching your videos. Instagram, it's a little different. Reels, depending on what you're posting, it's going to go to different people. Reels mostly are going to go to non-followers. Your followers will see it, but the majority of viewers are going to be your non-followers. If
Mm.
it's a post, most of the people who are going to see it are going to be your followers at first, and then if it does well, will pump to a lot of non-followers. A story, most of it is only going to go to your followers. And there are ways that you can leverage Instagram's DM function with links to things to cross promote across platforms. You can't do that on TikTok. TikTok does not want you to leave TikTok under any circumstances. So links that you send in TikTok
Mm.
work, but I can send people a video. I can put a post on Instagram and say, comment video, and I'll send you a link to my latest YouTube video. So they'll comment, which is good for engagement. I will send them a DM automatically. I don't do it. It's automatic with a link to my YouTube video. Then it will take them to my YouTube video. So you can cross promote on Instagram, whereas you can't on TikTok. So I think Instagram is going to be the lowest barrier to entry because everything is a lot quicker. If I
Mm.
want to make a video, it's 30 seconds or whatever it is. That's a lot easier than making a 10-minute YouTube video. I will say that I think YouTube is the better platform to be on long term. I think the leads are better quality. I think as time goes on, more of my business will come from there. Right now,
Mm.
it's about evenly split from social media between long versus short. But I think over time, more is actually going to come from YouTube. I think just you connect with people because they're watching you for so much longer and because it's more intentional. I am searching for moving to San Francisco and watching a video, whereas on Instagram, I'm just getting pumped content. So it's just a different way of engaging. I think Instagram has so many things that you can do with it to generate business that you can't on other platforms.
Austin, this conversation has been so incredibly helpful. I like really can't wait to share with all the realtors I know, both here in the Bay Area as well as across the nation. I think like everyone, no matter where they are, can learn from you. I think you are in a category of one, like no one's really doing it like how you're doing it. So with that being said, how can people follow you?
You can follow me everywhere. I would love that. My YouTube handle is just my name, Austin Klar. For some reason, that was already taken on other platforms. So Instagram and TikTok, there's a dot in between my first and last name. And then my website's austinklar.com if you want to learn more about me. And you can email me if you ever have questions about content or anything. I'm always happy to share and help.
Amazing. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.